Good evening, it's Cindy Fodor here with Stamp the Love, and it is Make It Monday, and this is a recorded version because it's class night. So this is our monthly class. There will be 4 cards tonight, so grab a drink, get ready, and get comfy because we have 4 projects to work on. Before I get started, though, I just want to remind you again that during this month of February, we have a special going on where you can get our free Stampin' Positioner when you sign on as a demonstrator. So you pay $99 for your kit, you choose $125 worth of product, and you automatically get our new Stampin' Positioner. Also, when you order from me this month, in addition to the cards that you will get from the class I'm going to show you tonight, if your order hits $60, you will get our free tutorial from our Creative Stampin' Collective featuring our Easter basket bundle. And there's some really cute projects in there that you will love to learn how to do. Also, not seen here, but I'll pop a picture on here in a second and show you our product of the month. So when your order reaches $75, Stampin' Up! Will offer you to purchase an additional product for $5. I don't know what that is at the point of this recording, but when I'm making the video, I will have that for you. So you'll be able to add that to your order as well if you like. So in order to get the projects that I'm showing you here tonight, if you order by the 15th of the month and your order is $50 or more, you will get these projects in the mail to make on your own. Okay, so are you ready to get started and see these fun projects? Let's pop over here and see what we have first. So our first card is going to be this card, and we are using a brand new stamp set, Aspen Grove. I love these trees, and I'm so excited. I thought when I saw this that this was all one stamp. It is not. They are all separate stamps. You can make your forest look exactly how you want it to look. We're also using the banner sayings and punch again. So let's get started. I got a similar card in a swap, and I actually lost it. So I'm just trying to recreate it, but I loved it so much. I definitely changed it up. I added some fun stuff on the side here. So let's go ahead and work on this. I have my design set up on my big block. So I have these particular trees that we're going to do. Let me get rid of the mouse. We don't need him right now. So let me go ahead and ink this with Early Espresso. My cardstock size is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, I believe, and it's basic white. And let me just get that stamped on here. Hopefully I inked that really good. I'm going to just rub because my surface is not real solid here. So there we go. Now we're going to do some coloring, and what I did was I tore a piece of scrap paper because I want to fill in the blue around these trees, and I don't want to mask each tree. I don't have time to do that. This is the quick and easy version. So I tore this, I folded it, and then just ripped it so that it's a little bit uneven. And then I'm just going to put it, depending, and I have it long too, so it's sort of nice. I can move it up and down depending on how my tree is designed and you know, what little outcroppings I need. So we're going to sponge this edge here with our, this is Balmy Blue that we're using. And it's nice to do it on the silicone mat because that way pretty much all of your ink is going to go there. Now I'm going to come over here to this next one, and I'm going to do all the right-hand sides first. I got that a little bit dark up there. And I don't really need to do the tops as much because we're going to have the green up there for the trees. So I got a little carried away. Just need to move this over a little bit. We'll come over here to this one because it doesn't hurt if we go across the one that's all brown. Okay, and now we're going to just flip it over and start the other direction. And then I'll come over here to this one and get this side of that clearing. The same here. And then one last one over here. And I think you'll agree. This is, I've seen several cards, not a ton, but it's a couple with this set. And I have loved this the most, and that's why I decided to do this one. Because I love this blue in the background. And then if we need to add some more up here later, we will. Let me just put that aside for a minute. We're going to go ahead and stamp, and I'm using Granny Apple Green and Lemon Lime Twist. And there are 3 leaf patterns. And, you know, it's hard to know where to stamp, but I took the more solid one and I did it in the lighter color of Lemon Lime Twist. And I'm just going to start filling in a few places at random. And maybe I'll leave that for now. Let's go to Granny Apple. And let's take the next one that's a little more shaped leaves. And I don't know which direction you want these to go. I did them more down. I just re-inked this Granny Apple Green, so it's pretty dark. It's almost a wild wasabi, I think. But I'm also going to stamp some off. Let me just grab a piece of scrap paper here. I'll grab my mat. I want to stamp a couple of these in a lighter shade of Granny Apple. I shouldn't have this mat under here because that's giving me an extra shape. All right, and then let me do one more here. Okay, I'm going to take this little one and I'm going to put it up just so that the leaves, they're young leaves and they are facing upward a little bit more. Okay, I think that looks perfect. There's nothing special that I did other than, you know, do some stamping around. Maybe I'll do one right here on this to give that where this Lemon Lime Twist is. It seems like it needs a little bit of shape to it. So, okay. So that's it for that. Let's stamp our greeting next. We need our early espresso. And I have from the banner sayings, I pulled out wishing you good things, because that could be for birthday. It could be for a lot of different things. And we're going to do that on a strip of paper here. And then it's nice if it's a little bit wider, because then you can make sure that it's nice and straight when you go to punch it. I'm going to just turn it so that the light is helping me to see if that's straight. Okay, so let's put this together. So I have a strip that I did with our new embossing folder. And I don't know, if you look at my card, you'll notice that it doesn't look even, because I cut the strip and then I ran it through the embossing folder. For this one, I actually ran a piece through the embossing folder and then cut it to size, which is going to be a pain in the butt to do that 30 times for everybody's cards, but it definitely, I think, will look a lot nicer. Let me find my adhesive here. And we're going to pop this piece on our quarter sheet of Early Espresso and hope that everything fits as nicely as you planned it. And then we're going to use some green glue for the embossed piece. We'll pop that on here. And there might be a little bit of a gap, but that's okay because we are going to put this really great piece of earth and toned metallic paper. And I'm going to do just a really thin line of glue on that. Let's make sure we have everything like we want it here first. This is going to go from the top to the bottom. And while that has a chance to set, make sure that's straight. I want to tie this ribbon around here, but I'm just going to stick it, put it around here sort of how I want it. And then we're going to go ahead and glue this part because I want to make sure that metallic piece is in place well. Ooh, I just spit on my paper. It's good it was on the back. Okay, I think that'll be okay because I can move it a little bit in the back. And I have it on a background of Granny Apple Green. Now that I have that glued down, it will be a little easier to tie. And we're just going to tie a little bit right here. Oh, I did not plan that well at all. Let's put that up through here. I don't know what I was thinking, where I thought I was going with that. You can put it at the top or down below or however. I'm going to put it up here just because I have a shorter part up there. All right, and then we're just going to trim that extra off a little bit. All right, it's shaping up. It's looking pretty good. Let's pop this up. And then I also cut some of these little green pieces from, I want to say it's the Greenery bundle. I can't remember now which bundle I did that from, but it was a cute little green leaf I had there extra from some other things. And I thought, I think I want a little piece of green old olive coming off of this tag here. So we'll just tuck him right there. And then for gems, I chose the Streaked, I think they're called Streaked. No, Cajun Craze and Gold Dots. And I really want the gold to show, but if you look at these, they're Cajun Craze and they don't match our colors. So what I did was I took our old Pebbled Path marker and I colored on them, and check out the difference, how it added a little brown to it. I think I did the dark with that one, but the light really just gives a nice shade to these. I think I already did these, but okay, so that just adds a little brown to it, or you can use any color, but I wanted them to be just a little bit darker for on here. So we're gonna grab one of these, pop it here, and then I'll take two of these other ones. Oops. And pop them there, okay? And I like that they are a little bit darker now than the sort of more reddish of the Cajun Craze. All right, so that is it for that card. Hope you like that. Let's pop to another one. Okay, this is our next project. This is a really fun fold, and it's a gorgeous flower and gorgeous paper, and I love everything about it. So the card base itself is 10 3/4 inch by 5.5 tall. Okay, so this takes a big portion of a piece of cardstock. But you're going to score it at 1.5 and 3¼ inches from either end. Or if you like to just go the whole way across, you can do 1½, 3¼ 7½, and 9¼ and just do them all in a row. But if it's easier not to open the bar on the cutter and the trimmer, then you can just do 1½ and 3¼ so they're not even. It's not 1½ and 1½, because let's see, when we fold this back, let me just think here how I want to do this. So I'm going to bury this bump, and I did run this edge through with an embossing folder, and we just did this little flap here. So you see here what I mean. Like, this does not go the whole way back. So it's easy to think that, oh, I want this to be even, but I don't want it to be even. I want this to be shorter. So if you do those scores, 1½ and 3¼ and then score those or burnish those back. So that's our base. And then what I did, I wanted to show you here how I laid out my dies for my flowers and leaves. I had white, petal pink, and darling duckling, and I just cut them all at one shot. I was able to get all the pieces that I need. So we'll pop those out here real quick. And this has little pieces inside of here. They're really cool looking, and I think that you could leave them in if they would stay in, or you can take them out. So, but I definitely think there's something I could do with these. They almost look like feet for a duck or something. So hard to throw things away, isn't it? Especially for me. Let's get these little center pieces yet. Okay, so I'll get this out of the way. All right, so I am going to add some sponging to some of these, some extra color, because I like the petal pink, but I want it to, let me just put the sample down here in camera. I really want a two-tone for the flowers, so the front, I'm going to add some extra color to. And I just have to decide which one I want to be on the front and which one I want to be on the back. So this one I'm not going to change. This one I'm just going to add some Calypso Coral to it. So I'm using my Calypso Coral brush. And we'll just get some extra color on there. It's a very fragile piece, so you do have to be a little careful as you're brushing over it. And you can make it as dark or as light as you want. I want it to pop pretty good, so I'm going to come back over with a little bit more pressure maybe. I probably should do this on my mat like I said earlier, because I threw that somewhere. I threw it out of my way, and I don't know what I did with it. I did not put it where it belongs. Good job, Cindy. Oh, here it is. Sorry, it was in my way. Because I found that it actually sticks to this a little bit and doesn't scoot around as much when you're coloring. Look at that. That's totally a game changer. So yeah, remember that, Cindy. Remember that the next time you want to do this. All right. Now the next ones I want to do some Old Olive, and maybe we'll stamp these first so that I can actually see where I'm going. So I'm going to stamp the leaves that go on here. Excuse my head while I try to line this up. And then this one. Okay, and then I'm just going to take a brush and add some color to this because I don't want it to be white, but I also don't want it to be really dark. So that's why I did it in white. I also could have done it in like Seaside Spray or something. And it's not Seaside Spray. It's Soft Sea Foam. Those two colors came out at the same time, and I loved both of them. Okay, I think that's it. I think we are ready to put things together. There is a little bit of stamping for the inside, so let's go ahead and do that first. Oh, there is one more thing. I used this piece of paper. This one was white and gold, and it's pretty, but it's too much gold and white for this card because, like, yeah. So what I did was I took Petal Pink, and you're only going to see the top and the bottom of it. So I just took Petal Pink and added, looks like my Petal Pink could really use a re-inking. And after last week's video fiasco with just re-inking the pad before I was doing a technique, I hate to do that right before I do a class, but definitely is going to need a little bit more. But I just want to get rid of the white. So, like I said, just at the top and the bottom where it's going to show. I think I went down far enough. Let me just scoot down a little bit more here. Okay, so, and then we're going to stamp on this piece that's going to go inside here. It's going to cover this like that. And this says, "You're on my mind." And let's see if I can stamp that in the center. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if we can put this thing together. How about that? That was very quick, right? Now, we're going to put, get rid of my scrap paper here. All right, so I cut a piece of Calypso and a piece of this designer paper, and they're going to go together here on, now see there, I put the mat there, and now where did my adhesive go? Here it is. Wow, I'm a mess tonight. Although I am recording this pretty late at night. It's 10:30, so, and it's been a long day. And then this is just going to go on the edge of this. So I'm going to glue just about an inch over here. It might be, I might have put that over just a little bit too much. And I want to center it top to bottom if I can. This doesn't have to be even here because this is actually going to fit inside, so it really doesn't matter, but I'm going to have it about that far and good. My adhesive doesn't show. And then this piece is going to go over here, and this is one of the other pieces, and I have peach pie on the back of that. And that one's going to go on this side, overlapping this a little bit. Now, if you notice, I did piece this. I ran short of this design. It was a popular one that I used, and I really, really like this pattern so much. So I pieced it there. So I hopefully have enough for my classes. All right, so on the inside, if you close this, you'll notice here why I'm putting this piece in here. There's a little bit of green showing there, and I don't want that to be. So I am putting this right in the center. It's just a 1-inch piece, and I'm hoping if I get it at the right spot, it will cover that. So that looks like that. Okay, quick and easy, right? And I could have just used a tiny little piece because I'm going to be covering up part of this. I don't think that's terribly straight, but I'm going to be putting this in there and covering a lot of it. So you could definitely piece it and still save on your paper. And I would have done that if it wasn't such a small piece and I had plenty of it. So there's our center done already. Now we're just ready to put our flower together. And there is a solid flower. Shoot, I didn't bring the set in here. That's because I'm still out there cutting stuff. I didn't get this project all completely cut. But there is a stamped flower that's big, and it could go behind here, but I like the open and airiness of this and some of this color showing through. So what I did was I just put a dot of glue right in the center here, and then positioned this on top, slightly overlapping however you determine you want that to go. Let's do it like this. And then this is going to glue on here, so I'm going to put another dot of glue in there. And you sort of want to close this so that you know exactly where you want it to go, because you don't want it overlapping your edges at all of your card. And I will hold that there a few seconds because we definitely don't want that to come up. While I'm doing that, I'm gluing these two pieces together. I don't know that you need both. In fact, I might change that, but I don't know. I sort of like this extra little piece on here because then I sort of can pull that up a little bit. And I know when you mail it, it's going to go flat, but it makes me happy to have those popping up. So I'm going to just put a little glue right there and sit this in place. There we go. And then we can pop our leaves on here yet. And what I might do is lift these up and put a little glue on them. And then I can tuck this leaf wherever I like it. And I think it looks good right there. And that way it's gluing right to the leaf. I don't like that my stem shows under here, so I'm going to just bring my scissors in and just do a little snip snip just of the end of that leaf. And that way that doesn't show. Okay? And we'll do the same with this one. I'm just going to put a touch of glue. Whoops, that was more than a touch, Cindy. And we'll stick this leaf in here. Oops, I put it in there a little further than I wanted to. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, last but not least, let's get rid of these. They could be gorilla feet too. Look at those. What do you think? Anybody into making animal art? All right, last thing we need is our gems, and I'm using the ones we used last month, Pearlized Faceted Gems, because I love these so much. And let's see, I have this one open. And you can use 3 of those somewhere. My leaf piece is on here. So since we're using Calypso Coral, we can definitely use that color. Although on my sample, I did not. I used the lighter color. But since I started with these, I'm going to go like that. And let me just show you the other one here, so that you can see the difference. On this one, I had a little bit more white in the paper, whereas this one has a little bit more color. So, yeah. So however you like to do that, they both look different. A little less color on these. So it's fun to see everybody in class, though, because you can see all the different talent coming out and people doing things their own style. So, all right, hope you like that one. Well, let's pop to the next one. Okay, this project is designed originally by Jackie Williams, and I tried to pretty much do everything that she did because I think it's so beautiful with a paintbrush from our trusty tools set. And I'm using our washi tape from, let's see, where do I have that one? It's from this Extraordinary Flora die, but we're going to do the, it has some petunia pop in it, and it has some red, maybe strawberry slush. So because there's 2 different what do I want to say, variations in this tape. I'm going to make a different one than this version so that for class we can do both of those and not waste the tape. They're just as beautiful. So I'm hoping that everything goes together as lovely as this color scheme did. I did use Granny Apple Green two-tone so that we could sand it. It was just one of the colors I had, and I think it will go nice with both of these colors. So to start out with, we're going to use some watercolor paper, and I am using the textured notes dies for the design around the edge of the paper, if you can see that. All right, so my first try was I am not a watercolorist, and I did not get it wet enough. So anyways, I'm going to drip some ink refill in here rather than try to squeeze the pad enough to get enough ink, because I need plenty of it. And I'm using the really brushy look of the, what are these called? Water painters or whatever. I'm going to add a little bit of water to my palette here. And I'm also going to just brush on here to wet my watercolor paper a little bit so that it spreads on easily. So let's get some water mixed in here. I want this really, really wet and soppy. So we're just going to make a brush mark around here. A little bit more water maybe. All right, got a little bit dark at the bottom. I wanted it to go a little lighter, but I got a little heavy-handed. But we'll see how that works. We'll let that dry for a minute, and let me just clean this brush out. This one picks up a lot of color, so it's one that I will run under the sink, but we'll get some of the worst of it off, and then I'll finish cleaning that later. All right, while that dries, which we might have to heat that to dry it to get done what we need to do, I'm going to take the smallest of the water painters, and I am going to go into Early Espresso. I did squeeze this one. You can see these two are just squeezed. I did not put extra because I don't need a ton of color. So we're just going to start here. And I'm just going to come up along the edge and finish bringing it down so that it blends out a little bit. Let's do a little bit more. We'll just do that one more time. And this time blend over here a little. And you can use your blends for this if you prefer that to watercoloring. But I'm going to pull in pecan pie because I don't like the blackness of Early Espresso on here. I want it to look a little bit more oaky, maybe looking for the brush. So I'm going to add some pecan pie to that. But I didn't want just pecan pie because that would make it, I don't know. I just like the combination of these two. So hopefully you like those as well. See how nice that looks? Just with one side a little bit darker than the other. Okay, so we're finished with that. And I'm not going to color the rest because most of the rest is going to get covered up. Let's go to, I just wanted to show this. This came from the Trusty Tools kit. And the next piece that we need is this. And this embossing folder is called All in a Row. And I just want to take a sanding block that I got at Lowe's and just go over this to reveal the white in the core of the two-tone paper. Only works with our two-tone because our regular cardstock is full core colored. Only really need to do the outside edge for that. All right, let's go ahead and put our card together. I'm using Poppy Parade for this one. And the color that we used on the watercolor was Poppy Parade. And I am going to just use some green glue. This is not a 3D folder, so it probably would have been fine to use my Seal Plus on. And I am just setting this off center a little bit. I don't want this to look straight because this is a crafty watercolor look, right? All right, so let's see. This is probably not ready. Let's go ahead and stick this on. And this is going to go the other direction a little bit. I want to make sure that I see the pattern, the green around there. All right, so I might need to just dry this a little bit. Let me get my heat tool on here for a second. All right, there we go. That's pretty dry. And I tell you, the difference in using watercolor paper as opposed to regular white cardstock, I don't know if you can see this on camera, but you see how that's bowing? And that's with gluing it to 3 different layers, and it's still forcing those layers to bow. So I highly recommend the watercolor paper. It's almost flat as I work with it here. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is stamp the greeting, and I'm using With You in Mind because I wanted a birthday, and Trusty Tools does not have a birthday in it. And I'm using, instead of black, I decided to use Secret Sea because it's an awesome neutral. And I also knew that it would stamp better because it's one of our pads as opposed to Memento. And I can ink it so much better. And I'm hoping, I probably should have put this on the Stamparatus because stamping on watercolor paper is not fabulous, but I don't have a Stamparatus in here. So we're going to wing this. Maybe for class, I'll have it set up on a Stamparatus. Or the new stamping positioner that's coming, because I'm getting that today in the mail. I'm hoping that that's dark enough. Okay, I could probably go a little darker. What do you think? Should I take the chance of trying to line this up again? I'm not sure I trust myself, but nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? Let's try it. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, I think I'm finished with this. And next we will get this put in place. Actually, let me try to get the thread through first. What did I use? A pokey tool? Let me grab my hairpin here and see if I can. I had, I ordered some needle threaders and I couldn't find them. I ordered a whole package of them ages ago and I haven't used them. All right, so I'm just going to tie this in a knot here. Okay. We're going to stick a dimensional. I'm throwing things around here. Going to stick some dimensionals on here. Actually, I don't want it down quite that far because I want the bottom to glue down. And this top one is going to need to be cut. And do I have any scissors in here that aren't ribbon? Of course not. It's because I have them all out in my stamp room where I don't need them all. Okay, so I'm going to stick this on here. It's going to overlap a little bit because we still have more cards to, more paper behind here. And we could go ahead and get this put on our card base. That way, as we're doing it, we'll have all the beautiful colors together. I'm really excited about seeing these colors. Isn't that red really just brilliant? And I think it's going to stand out pretty. I hope that This flower is really short. Now I want to put a little bit of glue under here just to hold that down, because we're going to now put our bouquet of flowers on there. There we go. That looks pretty just like that. If I painted this red, oh, I'm going to do that really quick. Just for fun. Wouldn't that be fun so that you can actually see the brush and make it look like it colored it? The only problem is I stamped it with Memento and not StazOn, so it will get a little muddy because I'm putting water on it. But since we're not going to see it, thank you for obliging me here, because I just thought that would be really fun to see those brush marks. I think this card would be gorgeous just like this, without the flowers, if you wanted to do a masculine design with it. And I'm just going to grab a picture there so that I have that before we cover it all up. Oh, I just really like that a lot. Okay, let's grab our flowers here and see what we want. These are a little bit pink because they're probably more strawberry slush, but I'm not sure. I think they'll be okay. I really want to use Poppy Parade. I'm just going to throw flowers on, and maybe I'll leave a little of that brush showing. What do you think? Instead of covering everything. I found with the other one, as I did it, I put dimensionals on, because then I was able to tuck things inside, and I only brought a few pieces in, so I'm not sure. Like I said, I sort of want to leave some of that brush showing. Let me see if I can get this tucked in here to be... I really don't need quite all of that greenery. I wish I had grabbed another greenery. I'm going to leave it just like that and maybe throw this flower on. And leave some of that brush show. Oh, I like that so much. I'm sorry, you shouldn't love your own work so much, right? Okay. Last but not least is some gems, and we're just going to use same ones we used last month, the holograph resin dots, because they go with every color and they really look pretty. And I think I'm going to grab this one, maybe another one of those. I like when these are like what an irregular triangle, like not an isosceles or a square triangle. So there we go. I think that looks pretty cool, and I believe I remembered everything. So I hope you enjoyed that card. Okay, our final card is this card. I showed it to you like a couple weeks ago. It was originally designed by Susan Cantfield, and I don't know what she calls it, but I'm going to call it, I called it a double pop-up, but they're like square pop-ups. So I don't know. I don't know a good name for it, and she does name them, and I should know what it is. It might be double pop-up. But anyways, I just love the colors. And we're going back to our lovely arrangements bundle again that we're doing the birthday card class with. And I did our some projects for our team event. I love the paper. I love so much about it. So why not use it if you love it, right? Okay, so let's get started on this. Our base card, again, is another whole piece of cardstock. So this is 11 inches by 5.5 inches. All right. And we are going to score it at, looks like my blade is popping up there. So let's get him down in where he belongs. There's a little groove here where they fit in. I'm not sure how it popped out. All right. We're going to score that at 1 3/4. I don't know. These aren't necessarily her measurements. I came up with the measurements myself just based on looking at her card. So hers might be a little bit different. 1 3/4, 6, and 7 3/4. Okay. I totally said that wrong. So you don't need a whole half of a sheet, 11 inches. I apologize. You only need 8.5 by 5.5. Duh. Okay. So now we have it right. 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 1 3/4, 6, and 7 3/4. Okay. I was like, wait, why do I have all that length left? Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a fold or two. It's getting late. I'm really tired. So this is going to fold in. And then this one is going to fold in. So the only one that folds out is this 3/4 inch piece right here. Okay, so that's our card there. Again, you'll see it's almost like a gatefold, but it doesn't quite meet. But that's going to all be filled in with all of our fun stuff. So I also have this little piece for our inside box, and it is 4 by 5. We'll score that one in a minute. I have the one for the tiny box, and this one's 2 by 3.5. Plus, I have 2 pieces of 1 3/4 inch. Is this 1 3/4? 1.5 by 5 1/4 for our outside panels here. And I have that embossed. I also have the little piece for the front of our box, and that is embossed. This is 2 by 3.5, or it's supposed to be, and I know it's not because I can see it. So let's just fix that real quick. For some reason, I kept getting 2.5 in my head, and it's only 2 by 3.5. There we go. While we're in here, let's go ahead and score it. That one gets scored at 1/2, 1/2, and 1, and 3. And then this one gets scored on the long side at 1.5, 3, 4.5, and that leaves us a 1/2 inch to adhere. Okay, so let's go ahead and all of these get folded in a box. So you just keep folding them the same direction. Same with this one. And then this last little fold. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and adhere this. And they're white on white, but the embossing just adds really a pretty texture to everything. And it's a little bit nicer to emboss a piece as opposed to the whole front. On that green card that we did, we embossed the front, and it does make it a little bit wobbly. But in that case, we were folding it back, so that worked out okay. All right, so on this piece, you'll notice that we don't have a full cube, but that's because we're gluing it down, so we don't need it to be a complete full cube. But this side is going to get glued to this wall, so we don't need any paper there. But on these two sides, we're going to put designer paper. So let's go ahead and do that first. We have strips of this beautiful cloud cover and old olive designer paper. And we'll put those there. And then I think. Yeah. All right, so now I'm going to add adhesive to this panel, and we're going to stick that in the fold right here, center from top to bottom, and just fold that closed and get that stuck on there really good. You could use tear and tape here. You could also use green glue if you're concerned that it's not going to hold. And then I'm going to use tear and tape for this one just because I don't want it to come off. So on this little 1/2 inch section, we're just going to put tear and tape, and we'll peel that off. All right, and now we're just going to lay this, close this down like so, because we know that that has to fold flat. Okay, so when you do that, that way you know it's going to work. Let's go ahead and put this on here because this piece looks unfinished to me. So we're going to add a panel of the striped cloud cover. Looks like I got it over the adhesive over the edge there a little bit. All right, and then we're also going to put a piece inside here just to, it doesn't really, there's not really a section for it, but you'll see that it really, it coordinates with the other piece that we just did, and it just makes that come together. You know, it breaks up all of the white. All right, now we're ready to put this little box in. And once again, we'll go ahead and put this piece on the front of it before we stick it in there. And I cut this at 1 3/4 or 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. So there's not a full 1/8 of an inch around here, but I think that there doesn't need to be. Before we stick this in here, I think we'll go ahead. I should have put it on this before I did it because I want this blue piece that goes on here to be the same length, so 1 7/8 or close to it. So let's stick that on, and then we can do the stamping afterwards. I like to get everything put together. All right, so again, I think we're going to use tear and tape for this little guy. Let's go ahead and put a strip here. And a strip on this bottom fold. Peel those off. All right, so once again, the same here. This one, the little edge went down on here, and this one will go to the left. So we're keeping that to the left. We're keeping the straight one to the side. It's going to just go right along this edge. And we're just going to fold that down there and give that a good press. And then we're going to fold this under and give this a good press as well. I have to think how this works. Okay. All right, this folds back. No, it doesn't look right. Let me make sure I did this right. Okay. Yeah, something's not working the same. I must have done something wrong. I don't want to stick it down before I figure it out. So if you notice here, this whole edge is coming to the edge of the card. And if I put that there, it's going to stand up right. Is it going to fold down right? Oh yeah, it's going to be okay. I just have to stand it up straight, I guess, and put that down. This is probably where green glue might be a little smarter, because then if it has to slide a little bit, it can. I'm just trying to make sure it's got a nice square edge. Okay, there we go. Okay, so it was right. It just didn't, maybe my paper was not quite as wide here. So it's going over. So just I would have folded that down like I originally had it, with both of these pieces underneath. I know I'm not making much sense. It's what happens when it's 11:30 at night and you're trying to record a really pretty detailed, this definitely is one not for the faint of heart. Okay. I am going to try to have a tutorial written up for this one, just because I want you to be able to recreate it, and I want to give you all the measurements and folds, because I think that's the key. Once you get those folds and those measurements, boom, it's pretty easy to put it together. Okay, let's see. We need to do a little stamping. Let's grab this, and we need our ink pad, using Secret C for everything. So we'll try to stamp our flower. Excuse my block, it is so dirty. Wow. Okay, this is going to go this way. And don't mind my head, I just got to make sure I'm seeing where this is going. There's our flower. Let's stamp our happy birthday on this little tag here. And then we're going to stamp Hello Friend on the oval tag. There we go. All right, stamping is finished. And let's pop these on. This is a little tag that comes from the set, and I know that we're going to need to cut some of that off because it will go into this edge here. So let's just put a little bit. Let's see if this green glue will work for me. Whoops, stay on there. I'm trying to hold you in place. Well, that glue is not drying quickly, that's for sure. Let's go ahead and press that down. And then while we do that, let's put some glue on this one. And we'll put that there. This little leaf is going to tuck inside of here. Let's just put a little bit of, whoops, borrow one more hand and we can do this, right? Do 1,000 things at once. Okay, that should be down. I want to trim this off here. And then the Hello Friend is just going to go right here. I'm going to put the glue on here so that I can just slide this under a little bit. And I have to make sure it doesn't extend out here. So I'm just going to scoot that in a little so that it's not extending out past my card edge. And then last but not least, I was sticking to that a little bit. It got a little messy. There you go. I should have tucked my leaf under here, but since I didn't, I'm just going to trim off a little bit of it. And we'll put a little bit of glue right there. And it can look like I tucked it. How's that? Nobody will know if you don't tell them that I did not tuck that. And maybe I will put just a tad more glue just so that it's not scooting around too much. Okay. I know you're not going to stay, are you? All right, last but not least, we need some gems, and we are going to use the Moody palette gems that come with this suite. And I'm going to try to use up some of the ones that I have loose in here that I have left over. And let's see. Where is my take your pick tool? Now, these are like epoxy ones, and I don't think they Yeah, no, they slide decently. Okay, that's not too bad. Pop that one there, and then we have, let's see, these just have a large and a small. So I'm going to stick one over here. And I think I only put 2 on here. No, I did 3. Let's put this guy up here. How's that? Okay, and then that is not last because I forgot. I need these for my team awards. And guys, I apologize. I put them in the envelope. I was so proud to be done with all of these, and I forgot to put the ribbon on. So this is how it's supposed to go. Well, maybe I can tuck that under there. And then your ribbon ties around here to hold everything securely together, and it just adds a nice little touch on the end. And there we go. All finished. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. A little bit crazy there. It's only, I've made, like I said, I've made more, but that was like 2 weeks ago that I made those. And then I had to come, I couldn't find my pattern. So I had to figure it all over again to do these. So anyways, all right. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you love the projects this month. You can get them. You can come to the class. You place an order online of $50 or more. You get a free class in the mail. Whatever works for you, and I'll be happy to get them mailed out to you. All right. Thanks for watching and coming along as we stamped. God bless.